A budget of $3. Cheesy pop music that's used way too much. Awkward references to modern-day culture in a fantasy setting. Sad, dramatic montages of the movie I just watched. Put these things together and you get a film that makes your 22-year-old self question, why am I watching this? And why have I seen this 4 other times? I just don't understand it. I'm at home alone on a Tuesday night, desperately trying to find something good to watch. Oh look, Across the Spider-Verse is on Netflix, and Nimona, Prince of Egypt is back on there. All animated masterpieces. Movie-level quality so good that it belongs in a museum. Now the question is, which one do I? Why am I watching Hansel and Gretel but they're spies? It's like I have an addiction to these terrible movies. If given the choice between a good movie and The Amazing Maurice, why is it I'm picking the one where the cat has horrifying human teeth? What is it about these movies that I'm randomly drawn to? Maybe there is something good in them. Hidden deep beneath the surface. Maybe if I investigate these terrible fantasy movies, I can find the secret good in them. The key that keeps me coming back. Or at least maybe I can find something to help me break the habit of watching them, and finally, be a serious film critic. And I know just the movie to start with. Charming is a 2018 Canadian animated film made by Vanguard Animation. It's about a prince who was cursed as a child to be super charming, and if he doesn't find his true love by his 21st birthday, his super charm will destroy love forever. Rah rah rah. And this movie is a very well, it's a movie. And it exists. I'm sure it's not that bad. I like the idea of a hot, pompous prince learning to Oh, is that really what we're going with, design-wise? Look, the animation isn't bad, it has plenty of good things about it, and I have for sure seen worse. The princess's designs, at least, are all fantastic, but why is he proportioned like that? If you're gonna make a movie about a hot prince, you at least have to make the prince hot. Okay. Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe he's at least an entertaining character to watch.
How we doing? You on my good side? Trick question. They're both my good side. Well, at least that's what they tell me. Come on. This is for your wedding portrait. Give me a smile like a man in love. Love? Oh, I wish I even knew what that meant. Well then, how did you meet your princess?
Oh no, bad dialogue. Kill me now. Fun fact about me, I love writing. Clearly. Secondary fun fact about me, if there's one writing pet peeve I have, it is for sure bad dialogue. Oh, I hate bad dialogue. It's like someone stabbing a knife in my ear. And this? The scene may as well be like this. Hello there, audience. Look at me. I am a hot prince and very charming, but I am also insecure. Hey, shut up about that. Let's talk about love. Love? I don't understand. Love. And I'm sad about it. Your whining is so annoying. Give me more exposition. Okay. See what I mean? I hate bad dialogue. And these terrible movies are full of it. They don't have any understanding of natural flow. It's just, what do we need to say to get our point across? This movie especially is just plagued with unnatural exposition and awkwardly written moments that don't go to show any character. And this opening is especially bad. It's so much exposition, it really genuinely feels like the movie starts 3 separate times. It's just so... Oh no. Oh no, God! This movie has original pop music. That's worse than using existing pop music in your films. And this is so cheesy. I can feel my eyes rolling into the back of my head. And now I'm gonna have to spend the rest of this film listening to this slop. That's obviously really bad. Metro people. I think it helps that the princesses have such beautiful voices. They are able to sell this, obviously terrible music, which is especially impressive considering that this is most likely a very small cast. Is that Ashley Tisdale? And Jim Cummings? What, does Disney not pay you enough to play everybody? An Avril Lavigne! What is happening? Okay, that sold it for me though. This movie should be about the princesses. They have the best designs, they have the best voices, they're the most connected to the twist on fairy tales bit, they have the most interesting plotline, that being that they have all become engaged to the same handsome prince. This movie tries to sell me that they are nothing but dumb preppy girls, but I don't believe that they are stupid. They are in fact actually really funny.
We all slept for 100 years. That's when my very own amazing prince found me passed out on the floor. And he did what anyone else would do. He called for a doctor.
He pretended he didn't see you and walked away, so he didn't have to deal?
See? They tell jokes that are funny and only feel a little bit forced. Where's this energy for the rest of the movie? The movie should be about them. It should be about them realizing they don't need a prince. I'd watch that movie. But no, the princesses are barely in this movie. They're used for a plot device, and that's it. They're barely even characters. That's right, they got Avril Lavigne and Ashley Tisdale, and they barely use them.
You know, you're all kind of freaking me out. And yet, with morbid curiosity, I can only wonder what your lips will spout. On my 16th birthday?
Hold on. Wait a second.
On my 16th birthday?
Let me do some math here. So you're telling me you were 16 when you fell asleep. Technically, you were born 116 years ago, but you've been in a magic sleep for 100 of those. So, physically and mentally, you are only 16 years old. And it's implied you've been woken up only very recently. And the prince...
And we've only 3 days before your 21st birthday.
Oh, no. I've decided for you, Mr. Philippe Charming. You are not allowed to marry this one. Stay away. Stay far away from this one. Anyways, as I was saying, no, these are not the female leads of this film. Our female lead / love interest is actually...
Well, celebration's over. That's our cue, ladies. Hey up!
Yes, another not like other girls girl. I like money. Other girls don't like money. No other girl has been burned by a man before and therefore locked her heart away. Nope, never happened. Never heard of it. God, this movie is terrible at writing women. You either have a woman who turned evil and held a grudge for over 20 years because a man broke up with her one time, women who swoon and run after the first hot guy they see, even leaving their partners for him, women who only care about shiz and fashion and boys, and Lenore. And honestly, out of all of those, Lenore is the most boring and has the least potential. No offense to this fictional character. Guys, do you think she's gonna change? Look, if you think I'm being harsh on her for being more masculine, that's not what I'm trying to do. I don't care about that fact. This is just a very poorly written character. Every part of her character is something that I don't like. Pretty much her whole deal is that she doesn't trust anybody enough to find love or believe in it until she falls for Felipe Charming.
But every time I'm slipping down there, you say something so profound that I feel my eyes start to water. I'm watching closely, hoping
The tomboy sheds her masculine ways and is finally able to get in touch with her feminine side, all thanks to the help of a man. Thanks, men. It turns out we really did need you the whole time. Wow. And she's so close. Lenore, you're so close to an interesting character. Unironically, I actually really do like the idea of her not trusting anybody. It could be a good explanation for why Charming's charms don't work on her, and it could be an interesting arc involving opening yourself up to love. But it falls short for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, it's not specific enough. She was a sailor who grew up on the sea, and that taught her not to trust anybody. But how? What about you being a sailor makes you not trust people? And don't ships normally have crews that are supposed to work together and trust each other? Was she a pirate? This just feels like a first draft explanation that they didn't feel the need to dive into more. A better example of this would be Hercules. Meg fell in love with a dead man, traded her soul for his, then he left her for another woman. That's a great explanation for why Meg doesn't trust anyone, especially men, and why she should be wary about falling in love with Hercules. It's specific, it's reasonable, it could only work in this story, and it fits the themes well. Unlike, I don't trust other people because I'm a sailor. And reason number 2 is that it's super rushed. She begins to fall in love with Felipe far too soon. At this point, he hasn't even done anything to show that he loves her. Because he doesn't know it's her. Trust me, we'll get into that. Nor has he done anything to prove that he is worthy of her love or trust. In fact, it's exactly the opposite.
Okay, have you ever used a bow before?
Of course.
Great. There! I thought you said you know how to use a bow!
No, I said I had used one, which I have. Once.
Ugh! Take the reins!
Yeah. I don't really do the driving, so...
He only shows himself to be incompetent, stumbling his way into worse situations and being entirely unaware of his flaws. Yet despite the fact that they have not bonded at all, and he has not done anything worthy of loving, she begins to unlock her heart and fall for him.
You are amazing.
What do you want, a kiss?
What'd you say?
Great. What happened to never changing, girl? But that isn't the only arc that she has in the movie. She actually has a second, sort of intertwined arc. And the other one is somehow worse!
Of course. You are jealous.
Of you?
I am a prince on a noble quest. You are a thief, incapable of loving anything but your trinkets.
Oh no. Okay, hold on. Stop the movie analysis. Shut everything down. We have to talk about classism. Felipe spouts this ideology multiple times throughout the film, and it's so annoying. Objects have no meaning in your life. Money won't bring you happiness, only love will, said the pompous prince who has everything in his life handed to him and has never had to worry about the little things in life. Oh, I don't know, like money or food or survival. And he's saying all of this to a lower class woman, like love will suddenly fix all her problems. Wow, thanks. Yeah, I found love and now I'm happy. I guess it helped that my love was also a rich and powerful man, so I'll never have to worry about starving ever again. What's even more annoying is that the movie wants to support this idea. They genuinely portray the prince as a noble and kind-hearted hero, if a bit naive, and the lower class woman as greedy and money-hungry. And of course, the noble hero is what makes her turn away from her love of trinkets, and she learns that love is just more important than money. Wow, that's so great. What a beautifully one-dimensional theme. A theme that has almost no understanding of what has made her greedy and money-hungry in the first place. It's such a one-dimensional view of money or systems that keep people down, of desperation and stealing. But then again, I don't know why I'm expecting complexity from this. Okay, bring the fun back. We can start the movie analysis again. At this point, I have really only talked about some of the pieces that make up this movie. The characters, the dialogue, the music. You're probably wondering what the actual plot is, especially because it's not about the princesses and completely abandons the fairy tale parody 10 minutes in. No, this film instead is about trials. See, Prince Felipe here has his whole charming curse deal that will seal on his 21st birthday unless he finds his true love. So he must run the gauntlet to find out which princess he is engaged to he actually loves. Wait, how is this gonna help him? How? The princesses aren't going on the gauntlet with him. They aren't spending any time together. He barely even thinks about the princesses as he is running for his life from generic fantasy adventure. Explain to me, movie. Explain to me how this is supposed to help him find his true love. You'd think in a movie that has so much exposition, it feels like it has 3 different opening scenes, they'd find the time to explain that. But nope. But that isn't the only thing that makes sense. Lenore joins on this journey, agreeing to secretly be his guide for the princesses and dressing up as Lenny because she's on wanted posters in town. But you're not gonna be in town! They're gonna be in the woods! No one else will be there! Who is gonna try and arrest you in the woods?
There's no cops in the forest. We take this to our graves.
And you might be thinking, oh, maybe Philippe doesn't want to be traveling with a thief. Nope. This lame excuse is immediately torn apart by the very next scene, because Philippe is looking through the wanted posters for a guide through the gauntlets. He even pauses at her very wanted poster and is like, should I ask her to be my guide?
Tell me, could you imagine traveling with someone like this?
Nope.
And throughout the movie, he knows that Lenny is a thief and doesn't care.
You are a thief, incapable of loving anything but your trinkets.
You could have just appeared and made it so much less complicated. You already have the extra layer of her lying to him because she's getting paid to do this. You don't need to add even more layers of lying. Although actually, come to think of it, there isn't really a need for her to lie about that either. They all want the same thing that's guiding him through the gauntlet. You could have just gone up to him and been like, hey, your fiance's hired me to get you through the gauntlet alive. Problem solved! Y'all are stupid. And of course, it's not like the gauntlet's trials are very interesting either. It consists of 3 tasks. Cross an uncrossable pass, survive an unsurvivable attack, and conquer an unconquerable beast. And how is this supposed to help you find your true love? And yes, I know, I am aware, for all you charming movie fans out there, that the 4th task is for you and your love to take a blind leap of faith together. And theoretically, yeah, that would help you find your true love. But you can't just expect someone to leap for you out of nowhere. How does the 3 previous tasks help him figure out which girl he needs to leap for? I need to stop getting pissed about this. Let me rephrase for you what exactly the trials are. The first one, the uncrossable pass, is entirely random and doesn't really serve to forward the plot or the characters' arcs, but also isn't unique or creative enough to stand up on its own. It's just magic fog and magic plants that are alive. And they don't even solve the problem in a creative way. They quite literally just get lucky.
Amazing! Do you know what that was?
The second trial, the unsurvivable attack, is equally as boring and... Oh no. Okay. Pause the analysis again. Pause it all. We can't have bad, fun movie time right now. We need to talk about racism this time. Listen. I am so pale that blue light will give me a sunburn. I am not the person to decide what is racist and what is not. But this is racist, right? Based on my little bit of research, I can't find any mention of giants in mythology that are called the Matilaha, like they are in this movie. There are poppy flowers that are named Matilaha. It is also the name of a town owned by the Shumash people. Said town was named after the fictional character Chief Matilaha. And all of that information just makes this worse. Even if, hypothetically, there was some mythology behind creatures who are giants called the Matilaha, that still wouldn't matter. These designs are still racist. The fact that they eat people is racist. The fact that the pale-skinned characters call them this, I don't even want to say it, but it is still racist. The fact that they all want to rub oil up and down Felipe's body without his permission is weird. And yes, you guessed it, it is also racist writing. Wow, I love these great trials. The first one is boring, and the second one is boring and racist. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Get through these stupid ass trials. Okay. The third trial, the unconquerable beast, is a giant rock beast. Oh, great. It's also boring. And it's only summoned because Lenora took his jewel heart, and he wants it back.
Mine.
Okay! Great. So we have boring and unoriginal, boring and racist, and boring and classist. Great, fantastic, perfect movie. I love these trials.
It's just a colorful rock, Lenny.
No, it is not just a colorful rock. To you, yes, this is most likely just another colorful rock, because you probably have thousands upon thousands of colorful rocks at home. But to her, this rock means that she gets to eat tonight. You cat. Breathe. Just breathe. I cannot let this movie break me. Anyways, as they are running through these trials, the person who originally cast the curse, whose name is Neverwish, puts obstacles in the way in hopes that he will die. Wait, what? In hopes that he will die? Girl? Wait, hold on. Isn't your whole thing like, AAARG, I'm gonna end all love with this charming curse I've created, but like, you've attached the curse to a person. If that person dies, so does your curse, and you lose. Come to think of it, why did you tell them that the curse was gonna seal on his 21st birthday? Because, like, if you hadn't told them, they wouldn't know that there was a time limit, and they wouldn't be rushing to find Felipe, his love interest, and the curse would just seal without them knowing, and you'd win. And actually, I have more questions about this too, because the obstacles that she places in the way are literally the same obstacles for the gauntlet. Huh? So first of all, does that mean that not every person's gauntlet is the same? And if you wander through this random area, you are guaranteed that you will stumble across these 3 specific things randomly? And second of all, this information makes Nemini even dumber. You do not want him to be running the gauntlet because somehow, even though that hasn't been explained, that will magically help him find his love. So why are you giving him the exact tasks that he needs to complete the gauntlet? You're not very smart, are you? Speaking of being stupid, would you like to guess what happens after they complete the trials?
That is my tale. Now that I've conquered the unconquerable, this prince must choose his princess. Now, which one of the 3 I get married tomorrow?
I'm such an idiot.
That's right, miscommunication trope. I don't know who to be more mad at in this scene, Felipe or Lenora. It's Lenore. Felipe or Lenore. Because, like, girl, this is his curse. You have been aware that he literally has a charming curse since the beginning. That is the very reason that you are on this quest, to break the curse. And you know that personality-wise, he's a playboy. This is what I mean when I say he has not proved his worthiness to her. He has done absolutely nothing to make her think that he is not a playboy, and that he will just magically fall for her. This sort of action is entirely within his character. Except also it's apparently not, though. Because despite having absolutely no development in this movie whatsoever, in the beginning of this scene, Felipe is desperately trying to avoid the ladies.
Curse is curse.
What? So you're telling me, for no reason, he decides he doesn't want to talk to the ladies anymore. Then off screen, and again, for no reason, he changes his mind and decides he actually does want to talk to the ladies. All so we can have some cheesy 3rd act breakup. Great. Okay, I'm coming at you from the editing room, aka my living room. I've seen this movie like 4 times, and I've been staring at this movie for so long while editing this video, and I never realized how funny this scene is.
I thought you were my friend. Tell me one true thing about you.
Fine.
It was her all along.
She changes anything about herself. Her disguise is so bad. It's literally just a hat and a fake mustache. And they treat this woman like it's so dramatic. Like she's revealing the world's biggest secret. And she's literally just wearing a hat and a mustache.
This feeling, it's so weird. Don't you get it? We pass through an unpassable pass together. Ow! We survived the unsurvivable attack together. It doesn't bend that way. And then I single-handedly saved her from an unconquerable beast.
Oh my god, no way. It's almost like you need to spend time with a person to fall in love with them. And you doing this quest separate from the princesses isn't gonna make you fall in love with them. Who could have predicted this?
How can I do this to my people? Wipe out all love itself. So if I can't break the curse, then the curse must die. With me.
Oh, and just one right after the other. Okay. So Felipe Charming, the idiot, understands that if he dies, so does the curse. But the person who set the curse does not. Great. At this point, the movie's just doing my job for me and pointing out its own inconsistencies in the internal logic. And yes, Felipe does decide that he needs to be executed, which is a really dark for a movie of this age range. But if you think the climax of this movie is finally gonna do something interesting, well, let's see. The villain of the movie finally shows up to do her f***ing job and actually be a villain for once.
We'll see about that.
She kills him! God damn it! She kills him! Why? That's the third time you have attempted to kill him, and this time you succeeded, and you're celebrating? You need him alive for your curse! Why? Although really, if we slow it down, it actually looks a lot more like Lenore kills him, which is really funny. And if you think about it, she's probably killing a lot of people in this climax because she keeps shooting at Nemone, even though Nemone is not real and is just a smoke cloud, and the crowd of people is right behind her. This is clearly not working. What are you doing, girl? Lenore and Nemone play hot potato with one brain cell, and right now, they just dropped it down a cliff. Yeah, and this movie ends exactly how you'd expect. They true love's kiss, which blows up Nemone for some reason, and breaks the curse and brings him back to life, and they get married immediately, and she still has her hair in the same ponytail even on her wedding day, and that's it, that's the end of the plot. Wow, I hated that. I mean, I have been complaining about this movie the entire time, but surely, there has to be something in here that is good about this movie. Something that explains why I have watched it 4 separate times. And no, none of those times were for this video. I mean, let's see, I like when Lenore and Felipe meet.
Wow. Dressed for adventure. Those eyes. I need to say something. Say something! Flavor be floppy. What was that? Try again. Face like a mermaid. No. Voice of a meerkat. My brain is a bottle. Butter on pancakes. What is happening? I can't put a sentence together. And why do my knees feel like paella? Where's that super charming? Why isn't it working?
Cause, yeah, goddammit, this is kinda cute. Okay, I'll admit it. It's a little cute that the guy who has super magic charm doesn't know what to say to the one woman he actually falls in love with. That's cute! I don't know what to tell you. Maybe there are some moments of goodness that peek through. Nope.
I think you might have hit your head.
I'm probably stressed. Nemone never wishes.
A dark fairy out war where love itself threatens our land. But if I run the gauntlet and figure out which of my 3 fiancés to marry, I'll take a vow and save us all. Did you say you're engaged to 3 women? Look, it's not like I planned it, okay? I got a charm that just won't let go. It's such a curse.
Never mind. They immediately ruin it. By repeating huge amounts of clunky exposition, we have already heard what was the point of taking the time explaining all these plot points in long, clunky backstory scenes if you're also just gonna dump it awkwardly right here too? Ugh. Even the one moment that I like is quickly gone. And that one sentence pretty much describes everything that I actually like about this movie. I mean, I like the princesses, but they're barely in the film. I like the way the concept plays with fairy tale tropes, but it's pretty much immediately forgotten for the sake of generic fantasy adventure. I like the idea of a pompous prince learning to be better, and the idea of a man who can get any woman he wants but falls in love with the one woman who doesn't like him back at first. But neither of those ideas are executed in a believable way. You'll probably notice I barely talked about the film's titular character this entire time. I pretty much called him ugly and annoying and moved on. And that's because he's boring. They want us to believe he is self-centered, but they hardly show that in his actions. Since the start of the film, he cares more about stopping his curse from affecting the kingdom than how it affects himself. He isn't really that reluctant to be running the gauntlet because he still believes it's the right thing to do, and he is still willing to marry someone for the sake of the kingdom. He just wants to be certain it's the right person, which is important for breaking the curse, and also not really selfish. And yeah, he's spoiled and naive, but his naive beliefs get supported and reinforced by the film over and over and over again. They don't really commit to the bit. It doesn't really feel like he changes much at all, and that makes him really boring to watch. And if you think just based on that one interaction I will like the romance from his side, think again. Him falling in love with Lenore is even more rushed, because he doesn't know the person he's talking to is Lenore. He doesn't act like he loves her until after he learns it is Lenore. But let's be honest, this movie would be better if Lenore was actually really Lenny and he was falling in love with Lenny. I'm just saying, y'all may not want to hear me, but I'm right. It would make more sense logistically and it would be a better movie. This movie has so many really fun concepts, but it doesn't want to support these concepts with much of anything at all. It really doesn't know what it wants its plot to be. It makes its plot far too convoluted and ends up wasting more time on nothing instead of doing anything interesting. And all of these complaints don't even account for the times where the movie just gets really weird.
The charming curse.
Well, it's one tough enchantment, isn't it? Dark magic from Neverwish. Sorry to break that spell, but I'll do my best.
So there really is very little to genuinely like in here. But then why do I keep watching this movie? There isn't anything good or serious or artistic in it. It has almost no value. This didn't answer my questions at all. Let's keep looking.
Enter Wizard 101.
And step into my web of dark magic.
Battle war gift and all new monsters in the underwater world of Celestia. Unleash the power of new Grandmaster spells.
The Stolen Princess is also a 2018 movie that also comes from another country. Huh. That's interesting. That's just like charming. I'm sure that won't be a pattern. This time, the film comes from Ukraine. The plot involves Chernoborg, a sorcerer who every 100 years steals a princess in love and uses that love to power his magic. Ruslan, a young actor who wants to be a knight, falls in love with the princess right before she is stolen and must journey to get her back, and...
Can't you write something modern? Something about knights?
What you have to do is learn your lines. Those knights are all you can think of.
But how cool is that? You're dressed in armor, your sword in your hand, and over there in the distance you can see
yourself cleaning the stage.
A beautiful princess who needs to be rescued, not yourself cleaning the stage. How I want to call it quits and become a knight.
Once again, we have the problem of bad dialogue. Every line is very matter-of-fact and extremely on the nose. There's no personality in any of these lines, they're just stating information for you to know. This really feels like a first pass that the writer was doing just to put info on the page, with the show-don't-tell rule being absolutely thrown into the garbage. We literally see that he thinks being a knight is cool, and then they tell it to us again.
2 seconds later.
How I want to call it quits and become a knight.
sense.
To be fair, this might be caused by a translation issue, but it's still there, and the terrible, awkward dub acting does not help it at all. This film has a serious bad case of telling and not showing.
Chernomore has destroyed entire armies and decapitated giants.
Like here, for example, telling, not showing. From his actions, Chernoborg doesn't actually seem all that scary or threatening, and just telling us that he can destroy armies isn't enough to make him intimidating. On top of the bad dialogue, we once again have the strong female protagonist. Okay, I am beginning to see some patterns here. This time, we have a princess who doesn't want to get married and just wants to go on adventures and see the world. So Jasmine, we have Jasmine.
Nobody is better than the original.
At the same time, though, Mila is also tough as nails fighter type somehow. So she's a sheltered princess who definitely has received no fighting training, yet is able to defend herself. Listen, I like strong, independent women. I write them myself, so I'd be a hypocrite if I said otherwise. I think it's great that girls can have someone to look up to. But I can't help but wonder if the flanderization and extreme overuse of this trope does more harm than good. Like, for example, if it makes real situations that women find themselves in seem not that bad or not that scary. Why didn't you just fight back? Is a real question that women hear as a response to these situations. I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting to this and it does do more good than harm. Plus, she's not shown as invincible because she is kidnapped at the very start of the movie.
Hush, hush. So it's you who kidnapped me, and now you want to marry me?
I will have you marry me.
But having her fit into this trope doesn't really do anything for her character. They try to give her things to do, but it's really a waste of time. Here is her entire plot in the movie. She attempts to escape and runs around the castle for a bit. She fights against some evil pastries, finds a library, gives a necklace to a bird, and then is kidnapped again and is in the exact same spot she was when her plot started. Ultimately, it leads to the exact same place she began the film at. Even in her escape scene, nothing happens, nothing changes. It started with her attempting to escape the castle by using the cap of invisibility, something that, by the way, was not set up at all and just popped into existence when they needed it. I guess, thank you, I'll take that. And ended with her having the cap of invisibility and attempting to escape the castle. Sure, she defeated some Swedes, but that doesn't really add anything to the story at all.
And you, my dear, be cruel.
She doesn't learn anything or grow at all in this scene because she doesn't grow at all ever. She starts and ends the movie in exactly the same way, with no growth whatsoever, which makes me wonder, what is the point of her character other than just being a plot MacGuffin for the men to go save? Outside of the base trope that she fits into, she doesn't have any personality, she doesn't have any depth, she doesn't change or grow at all, therefore she doesn't have a character arc, and she doesn't do anything in the movie. She starts and ends the movie in exactly the same place. So, what is the point of her?
And that's how princesses deal with extra calories.
You'd think if he had a cap of invisibility, Chernoborg would, use it. But he never uses it. Only the princess ever uses it. Why don't you just turn invisible? And it's not just the princess who doesn't change. Every character doesn't change. Ruslan starts the movie a brave guy in love with the princess and wanting to be a knight, and ends the movie as a brave guy in love with the princess and gets to be a knight. A quote from one of my writing professors that I think about very often is, "No one wants to watch a story where a character wants something and then they just get it. A character arc should be made up of a want, a lie, and a need, not just a want. There should be some sort of realization here, a lie that they have been telling themselves, or a need that they did not realize that they needed, a lesson for them to learn so we can pull a theme out of the film. But this doesn't have that. He wants to get with the princess and wants to be a knight, and then he gets to get with the princess and gets to be a knight. There's no lesson that he learns, and Ruslan is supposed to be our main character. And then there is the third main character, the friend and playwright whose name I honestly don't even remember, despite him being my favorite character. And he almost has a character arc, becoming slightly more brave by the end of the film. But he also doesn't really do anything, ever. The only plot-relevant thing he does is read a book on Chernobyl. He never really helps after that point again. Despite that, I actually really like this guy a lot.
But they're dead, aren't they?
No. Are you with me?
Do I even have a choice?
You will have to travel to a strange land.
A strange land? Oh my goodness, a strange land? Not again!
I love you.
It's so beautiful that I need to write it down.
Like, he's, like, actually kind of funny and enjoyable, even if he still has absolutely no depth to him whatsoever. None of the characters really change or grow. Even the two characters as a couple barely change their dynamic. They start in love and end in love. And the love story between the two main characters is cute, but too short. Comparing couples, it's hard to pick which is better because Ruslan does get to know Mila, but only for a little bit. Because she is the objective, the MacGuffin he is meant to save. She doesn't get to come on the adventure. Meanwhile, Felipe and Lenore do get to do a lot of adventuring together and spending time together, but he doesn't know it's her. Therefore, these scenes have no romantic chemistry whatsoever. And despite them having no romantic chemistry, and despite him doing nothing to earn it, Lenore falls in love with him almost right away. Honestly, they both suck, but if I had to pick a winner, I'd give it to Ruslan and Mila, because I'll take a montage over whatever this is. They almost get a chance to have a character grow with this crazy old man character. He's someone who failed to save his love 100 years ago and is now a shadow of his former self. And yeah, that's actually a pretty good concept. I love a good crazy old magic man character. That's always a good trope. And the fact that he's a failure of a hero and is now a coward means he could have like an actual character arc. Plus, since he parallels Ruslan's adventure, he perfectly slots into that mentor role for him. And, on top of that, considering his knowledge of the land, Chernobog's powers, and the fact that he is a wizard, which none of the other heroes are, I'm certain he will make a useful addition to the team. Huh? Scusi? Oh, he's only in one scene? And he doesn't get to come with on the adventure, and he doesn't use his useful knowledge or wizard powers at all, and he's not a mentor for Ruslan. And they don't do anything with him. Right. Okay, what a waste of time. Enough about character. What about the plot of this movie? When isn't it wasting time? Well, most of the plot involves Ruslan and his friend, whose name I still don't remember, going across a magic land in search of the princess. And to find Mila, he must go through a series of obstacles and fights and puzzles and tests that are kind of almost like trials. Are you kidding me? This is the same movie again! Alright. What are the trials? Maybe they can at least be more interesting and less racist than the last film. First, he's told to travel straight until he can't anymore, then use a bean pod, but a hamster keeps stealing the bean pod. While it's not the most interesting trial I've ever heard, I do appreciate the fact that it's like a puzzle instead of just a task. And the solution to the puzzle is that he was actually meant to give the bean pod to the hamster. Again, not the most creative, but it's like, you know, an actual solution, instead of just they go over a cliff and it conveniently turns into a hot air balloon. It's not a great trial, but it's better than charming.
And if that doesn't make you happy, how about the bone dragon?
And for the second trial, Chernoborg sends along a rock monster to do its bidding. Oh, come on! It's the same movie! The next trial is getting a magic sword and armor away from a great hero. And why is he so big? And also just a head? They never explain that. Why is he like that? Anyways, the hero summons an army of the undead that just keeps reforming. The solution is to set off the giant head's allergies and send the army flying away. Once again, I do like the creativity here. While a consistently rising undead army is not the newest idea, it's a lot more fun than whatever the hell Charming was doing with its monsters. The real monster was racism all along. And I do like the I can't say consistency. And I do like the consistency here with Ruslan. Generally speaking, every obstacle he comes across, Ruslan defeats it by being clever, rather than by being the best fighter, which makes him a better hero than if he was just a regular knight with regular knight training. And it gives a reason as to why he's able to defeat things that actual knights aren't. It's pretty good, consistent characterization, and an actual example of show, don't tell in one of these movies. I'm, like, legitimately shocked that there's an actual example of show, don't tell in one of these movies. However, while it does technically have setup to it and is somewhat clever, the solution to this undead trial relies on the convenience of having a giant, unexplained head who also just so happens to be allergic to the very hamster Ruslan is carrying. It's clever, but it's also convenience. To put it another way, Jotaro Kujo and Joseph Joestar defeating Talents T. Darby by cheating is clever. Jotaro discovering he has the same stand type as Dio is convenient. No offense, Part 3, I love you.
Yes. Oh my god.
This lies somewhere in between those two. It's clever because he's using his environment to his advantage, but it's also convenient as it requires the environment to be just so perfectly set up so the author can hand the solution to the character, rather than the environment being set up in support of the villains and the character using some clever twist of that to his advantage. Finally, they are able to storm Chernoborg's castle, except the wizard turns himself into Mila and tells Ruslan to f*** off.
I will have you marry me.
But Ruslan, after several minutes of crying, realizes the trick and goes back to fight, and this finale actually it isn't that bad. I mean, it's not the most interesting thing ever, but Chernoborg turns himself into a dragon, while not new, is a creative solution to not being able to attack Ruslan with his magic. And this fight, the dragon actually has some pretty dynamic character work. It's a lot more interesting than, let's just shoot some arrows into the fog and hope we don't kill a guy. Ruslan takes Chernoborg's power source, which frees the statue women and returns the magic back to the crazy man and stops Mila from being turned to stone and... What's that? That last one's not true? And also the magic shield is still up even though he has no powers and the others were set free? Okay. Ruslan gets a little Hercules moment and saves Mila, but gets caught in the magic ceremony himself. Wait, he dies? But he didn't turn to stone? Why is that? Imagine You're a girl. You're a princess. You're in love. Everything's going great. But oh no, you get kidnapped by a magic wizard and turned to stone. And then you sit there for hundreds of years, semi-conscious, because we know they're semi-conscious, unable to move, unable to scratch an itch on your nose, unable to eat anything or drink anything or be alive, but again, still semi-conscious. And then, finally, after hundreds and hundreds of years, you get freed from your spell. Everyone you know and love is dead. Your kingdom is likely destroyed. Your lover who tried to save you is most likely dead. And you go out there and you find, oh no, some other poor guy is trapped in the same ceremony you were. He also is going to power Chernoborg's magic power source. Oh no, he's gonna get turned to stone. But no, he just gets to die. He gets to go peacefully into that dark night, while you had to suffer for hundreds of years. I can't believe that even the magic in this movie is sexist. Dead dude on the ground. Girl crying over him. Why do I feel like I've seen this before? Nope, he's fine.
You're the one I love.
I haven't seen this guy in 400 years. Everyone I know is dead. But happy for you guys, I guess. And they kiss and get married and live happily ever after, and that's the end of the... Hold on, these credits are so cute. Actually, these designs look pretty cute in this 2D style. Why wasn't the whole movie in this style? Sure, you wouldn't be able to get some of the more dynamic shots, but it would be so much more unique and adorable rather than looking like it comes from a video game cutscene. Whatever. This film was weirdly similar to Charming. It had a lot of the same concepts in it. I'm honestly not sure who it stole from more, Charming or Aladdin.
You are destined for the holy pockets, rags for clothes, and the company of this flying eyesore. Nothing in this world can change it.
You are a worthless street rat. You were born a street rat, you will die a street rat, and only your fleas will mourn you.
Call the guards. Or a knight, perhaps.
A knight? I am a knight.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Sir Ruslan at your service.
But I really am a prince.
So, you're not from around here?
And what makes you think that?
Oh, locals know that these parts are full of,
Gangsters? No, I know that too.
So, this is your first time in the marketplace, huh? Wah! Is it obvious? Well, you do kind of stand out. I mean, you don't seem to know how dangerous Agrabah can be. Woo! I'm a fast learner.
So, where are you from?
It doesn't matter. I left that place and I don't want to go back.
So, where are you from? What does it matter? I ran away and I am not going back.
Is not your choice.
Exactly! Is not your choice.
Sure, people who tell you where to go and how to dress. It's better than here. You're always scraping for food or ducking the guards. You're free to make your own choices. Sometimes you feel you're just trapped.
I have an idea. That is, if you are not afraid to trust a stranger.
Do you trust me? What? Do you trust me? I do think overall this film is a vast improvement to Charming. The animation is better, the fights are better, the characters are admittedly better, the trials are better, the romance is better. Heck, there were even a couple moments that I actually genuinely liked. Every time I compare this movie directly to Charming, Stolen Princess comes out on top. But that doesn't necessarily mean this movie is good either. The characters don't really change or grow at all. The plot is very generic fantasy, and every time it seems like they're gonna do something new or have something to actually say, they don't end up doing it. honestly, it's just kind of a boring movie. Even though this one was technically better, and it did everything more correctly than Charming, I had more fun watching Charming. And I think I had more fun because it was worse. What I'm noticing is these movies have really fun premises. A movie about Prince Charming who's cursed with charm, or a movie about a fairy tale that fails to have a happy ending. However, neither of these films chooses to focus on that at all. Instead, they waste time with things like gauntlets or trials or unrelated characters or environments because they don't have any idea what they want for the actual plot. They don't have anything to say. They try to come up with things that are whimsical or funny or magical, and sometimes they may even succeed. But most of the time, it just feels forced.
Magic butt kick.
It seems like I still haven't found the answer. In fact, I'm more confused than ever before now. Although this film was an improvement, it was a boring one, and I didn't enjoy my time watching it, yet I still watched it twice. Looks like I'll have to look at one more movie. Whoa, wait, this is a movie in which a plus-size woman becomes beautiful by becoming skinny, and she's followed around by a bunch of dwarves who consider themselves cursed to be ugly. Why on earth would I watch that? That sounds terrible! Sign me up. And immediately, we are seeing some signs that may look familiar. The movie starts with far too much exposition about too many different things, so much so it feels like it opens 3 separate times. Where have I heard that before? Let's just quickly speed through some of this exposition. Opening number 1. This is the Fearless Seven. They attacked a person they thought was a witch, but it was actually a fairy princess, and she curses them with some curse that turns them into dwarves. And don't worry, we will talk about that very soon. But they only change into dwarves when people are looking at them, and it can only be fixed with true love's kiss. Film opening number 2. A witch, Regina, waits every day for a magic tree to grow shoes of eternal youth and beauty, but so far none of the shoes have worked. Film opening number 3. In the past, the king married Regina despite being told she is a witch, because she's too beautiful to be a witch, and turns out she is a witch, and what a surprise, is making people disappear, including the king himself. The king's daughter, Snow White, is now looking for him. She steals the shoes under the nose of the cutest little hench bears you have ever seen. Oh my god, you are adorable! Oh my goodness, they are so freaking cute! Oh. Right, yes, the movie. Move aside, adorable hench bears, I have to talk about ableism. Really, I don't know whether I should be uncomfortable by this or not. I would love to get people's opinions in the comments, especially from people who are actually dwarves or little people. They're calling themselves ugly when dwarfism is a real disability, but, they also don't really have dwarfism, though, or at least something that looks akin to real dwarfism. They look a lot more like goblins, especially with the green skin, but it still felt a little weird that the movie calls them that. It's weird that dwarves are considered like a magical race in the first place. I'm pretty sure it's done because they were already changing Snow White's name and needed people to see, hey, this is a Snow White adaptation! But it does still make me a little bit uncomfortable. They do also seem to at least be a little bit aware of the problematic nature. That was actually kind of funny. They do go so far as to show that while some of the F7 are not used to fighting at this size, some of the F7 have in fact adapted to it. Since they are smaller, the triplet inventors are now able to fit into the body of this giant robot, making their combined power more than it was before. Anyways, the Fearless Seven find Snow, who is now very confused over her new beautiful form. The F7 lie about being the F7, and Snow lies about being Snow, claiming her name is Red Shoes. Ah yes, lying about your identity to the other characters. Why is this sounding familiar? Well, I mean, except in Charming, there was really no reason to do it. Like, quite literally, no reason. But in Red Shoes, Snow says the F7 aren't really her type, so they lie about being the F7 because they want to impress her. And Snow lies about being Snow at first because she's hiding from the evil queen, but then it becomes more about her insecurities, which is relevant to the plot and theme. So they actually give good reasons why to lie to each other, and not just because the plot demands it. Yes, well, most of the movie is spent with Red and the dwarves looking for Red's father. Meanwhile, the evil queen and her magic mirror plot to manipulate a prince into finding Red Shoes for them. And of course, they're gonna tell some weird, cringy jokes that don't make any sense.
And tell me her name.
How should I know? I don't get it much.
Well, you are the magic mirror.
Magic is just my first name. It's short for magic shard. Like Richard.
Hold on.
Do you think the people would respect you if you celebrated your birthday with a beautiful woman on your arm?
Finally! Someone talking sense. This horrible crowd gets it.
Oh no.
You have until 3. 1, 2. I lied. Charge!
Wait a second. Is this movie actually
Hi, guys. Are we taking a break? Well, FYI, they're getting away!
kind of funny?
It works. I call it an auto-portrait. I call it the duplicate-a-thon. I call it selfie.
Oh, thank God! Cringy modern day references. I needed to be brought back down to reality.
Look at what you made me do! You!
I'm sorry.
Made me make it perfect. And don't worry about this.
I'm sensing some parallels here. But once again, what Charming does poorly, Red Shoes does well. They actually have something interesting to say with this. It isn't just a plus-size woman becoming skinny and then being beautiful. It's actually more than that. See, Red Shoes doesn't hate herself as Snow White. She actually loves herself, but the thing is, she doesn't like the way other people treat her. When she's quote-unquote ugly, she's treated horribly by those around her. And when she's quote-unquote beautiful, people bend over backwards to an uncomfortable degree to help her. Even her love interest, Merlin, basically admits he wouldn't have helped her if she wasn't beautiful. Before, she doesn't care, even able to take the cursed shoes off, but the pressure of people around her pushes her into insecurity, allowing the shoes to latch onto her. And she makes a good point that people do treat her differently, and no matter how much she loves herself or believes in herself, the actions of others still hurts. In a lesser movie, they would have just given her insecurities and have her overcome them with the power of believing in herself, without finding a way to discuss where those insecurities come from and why she has them in the first place. This is a far more interesting thing to do with this premise than, I'm just beautiful now because I believe in myself. And I think it makes for a great lesson. So wait, the terrible marketing that made this look like it was going to be a surface-level movie where a plus-size woman gains beauty and becomes happy was not entirely accurate. Huh. Well, I'm sure there's some other things to complain about. What about that love interest, Merlin? Surely they have a rushed relationship and spend no time together and have absolutely no chemistry and they just start falling in love. Well, no. Their relationship actually does grow over the course of the film. It starts off extremely superficial, especially from Merlin's side. He just wants to get with her because she's beautiful, and he only sees her as a way to break the curse. I would actually say that he changes a lot more than Snow does, because he has this mentality of beautiful people are good and ugly people are evil. And there's actually some really good moments as he begins to deconstruct where that mentality comes from, and realize that he has insecurities and biases of his own. those insecurities and biases affect how he sees other people and how he sees himself.
Who do you like more, Snow White or Red Shoes? Easy. It's Red Shoes. Now, which of us do you think Red Shoes likes more? Easy, it's me. Wait. No. It's you.
And you can see how the two of them genuinely start to like each other for who they are, not caring which form the other person chooses to take.
I'm not explaining it right. If you saw the real me, you'd know exactly what I mean.
I think I can see the real you. And I like you. Just as you are.
Both of them begin to bond because they understand what it's like to feel different than you look on the outside, and the social pressure that comes with that. They're actually kinda cute together. The two of them actually have a good dynamic and bounce off of each other with quite a bit of chemistry. You totally believe that they are falling for each other, and she fully falls for him before she even sees his real self. And even though they do lie to each other in the beginning, the movie doesn't waste time on miscommunication tropes. You know, I'm spending a lot of time talking really positively about this movie. But this is supposed to be a bad movie. Quick, bring in more cringe! No, it didn't work as well as the first one! I need to critique something. I need to find something to critique. Magic system. Yes, there's magic in this movie. Let's talk about the world. I'm sure it's bad, and makes no sense, and it comes out of nowhere, and it's uncreative. The F7's curse doesn't just change the way they look, it does so whenever someone is looking at them, and they actually use this to create not only some really funny moments, but it also helps to highlight the dramatic ones and create some really interesting tension. Actually, a lot of the magic is used very creatively. Like Merlin has lightning magic that specifically is used through these papers. They set up the rules, like how the papers can stick to things or just be in midair or wherever, but Merlin needs to clap his hands together to activate them, and then they never break said rules. Instead, using the rules to their advantage to make the magic be even more fun and creative. Oh god, no. Bring in more cringe! Oh, well, I can't cringe at these little guys. They're just so freaking cute. They're so adorable. It's not working. The cringe isn't enough. This movie, it's funny. It's creative. The characters are good. They have actual character arcs. The themes are well written, and it's actually a really good twist on fairy tale tropes. They don't just abandon the premise 15 minutes into the movie. They actually use it and do something with it. And more than all of that, it's entertaining. I'm actually genuinely having a good time watching it. Oh my god, I like this movie! Yes, I think this is actually a good movie. Ironically enough, I judged this movie by its cover, or rather its terrible marketing. Even though I sat down expecting to laugh at something terrible, this was actually really good. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect, but it's definitely the best of these movies in this video. If I had to recommend one to watch, it would be this one. Go watch Red Shoes. Which is exactly why, despite not touching the third act at all, I'm gonna stop covering it here, because I don't want to spoil it. I want you to go watch it. It's free on Tubi right now, or at least it was when I wrote this video. I don't know if it's still there, but go check. Free. Don't watch the other ones. They're bad. Watch this one. So this must be it, right? This is the answer. I like watching shitty fantasy kids movies because every once in a while, one will surprise me and actually be good. Well, yes and no. I was surprised by Red Shoes, and I do actually think it's a good movie. I'm glad that my addiction to these films led me to it. But it doesn't explain why I rewatch movies I already know for a fact are bad. I really enjoy laughing at them, and they keep me entertained every time I watch them because there's always some new bad thing I missed. So this isn't the answer. I need a moment to think about this. Here's the thing. I've been watching bad fantasy kids movies ever since I was a child. Even as a kid, I think I knew Quest for Camelot was not going to be winning Oscars, but still, it was one of my favorite films. I rewatched it constantly, simply because I liked dragons and knights and fantasy. I didn't really care about the rest. A lot of people like to say you can't judge movies made for kids because kids will watch anything, and the response to that is kids deserve good media too. I agree. Kids do deserve good movies that are well put together and well written and have good themes and lessons to teach children for the future. But I also think that kids deserve fun movies. Obviously, a lot of movies I remember from my childhood are masterpieces, like Megamind and The Incredibles and Mulan and The Last Unicorn. But I also remember other things like Lemonade Mouth or Shark Boy and Lava Girl or Robert Rodriguez's other classic film, Shorts. Movies that are weird and kind of a little bit stupid and left some extremely confusing memories. But even though they weren't amazing, they still had something to them that I think a lot of modern day kids movies are missing. Whimsy. I'm not gonna name names, but there are so many big budget kids films right now that are just so corporate. They're not bad because they're weird, they're bad because they're flat and boring. And then you find something like The Stolen Princess that tries its best to make a creative and fun environment and fails so spectacularly you just can't look away. Movies like the Tinkerbell movies that worked so hard to make magic and wonder, or the Barbie films that helped to inspire kids to be courageous. And you might be saying, well, you just remember these movies fondly because you were a kid and you have nostalgia for them. And on some level, that's probably true. The Tinkerbell films do take me back to a time when I didn't have to worry about the world today, and rewatching them does remind me of that time. But there's something I didn't mention here. I didn't watch the Barbie movies until I was an adult. Really, that's true. Honestly, I don't know how I managed to miss them as a kid, but I did. I didn't watch them until I was 21. And even as an adult, I could still see how these were fun. The kind of fun that just went missing from a lot of movies that appear now in theaters. I just wonder to myself, in 20 years, what are the kids of now gonna remember better? The creatively hollow, big-budget films, or something like Charming? As adults, we might see these films for their cheap animation, or bad dialogue, or stupid concepts, but kids are only gonna care about how much imagination goes into the product, and how much joy they can get out of it. I think, somewhere along the way, adults just lose the ability to enjoy stupid things. Maybe I don't need to break from my addiction of watching bad fantasy kids movies. I feel like a lot of people who enjoy film feel they must be extremely critical or only watch the most serious Oscar-contending films in order to be taken seriously. But I actually prefer to like things. Maybe I don't want to be taken seriously if it means giving up stupid things. I'm, gonna go rewatch Quest for Camelot now. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. It's kind of taken me a very, very long time, but I'm really proud of the final product, so I hope you liked it too. My next video might be a little bit shorter, a little bit easier, because this one has taken so much out of me. I'm not sure though. I haven't decided what it's gonna be yet. Also, July is coming up, so if any of you out there happen to be artists who wish to partake in the annual art fight, I do as well. And so does my friend. So, you know, that's just another reason why the video might be a little easier. Just throwing it out there. Yeah, anyways, hope you enjoyed. Bye!